I have a problem. Specifically, a melon problem. You might be wondering, what's this problem, Kian? Well, if you have been watching this series for a bit, you'll know that I live off these things. These are my only food source. This is all I eat. Currently, I have almost 3,000 melons consumed, and this is the farm that's been producing them all so far. But it's been struggling to keep up, and I only get melons when I am in this area, so it's been quite a pain, and I've had to sometimes resort to eating berries for my projects elsewhere. And that won't do at all. So today, we are going to make a melon farm. Oh yeah, best food in the game, don't at me. Okay, not exactly 3,000, but we're getting there. And yes, you might also be asking, hey Kian, don't you already have a melon farm? And yes, I do. This is it right here. It is crap. It does not work. I think I have gotten maybe 12 pieces of melon from it, if I am lucky enough to, come by when it's harvested. Other than that, this has been completely useless and benign, and I'm keeping it here because I'm proud of it. It's my first Reds contraption in the world, but it just won't do for the amount of these little fruits I consume. So yes, we are going bigger, and using redstone, of course, because we've got lots of it. We are going so big, in fact, that I may never need to farm melons again. One AFK session, and I'll have an infinite supply. Of course, that may just be wishful thinking. I have no idea how efficient this farm is going to be. I've only done limited testing, but here's an example of what I want to do. So, pretty simple. Just Observer will detect when the plant changes, and then make the pistons fire, which will break wherever the melon is placed, on this dirt block here or this dirt block here. And there will be a row of this, another row, another row, another row, making a square, and then I'll have another one probably on top, and then perhaps a third layer or even a fourth layer, depending on how adventurous I feel. And that should, in theory, provide me with a lifetime supply of this life-giving fruit. I don't think I actually did a proper intro to this episode. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 9 of My Lonely World. I think this is episode 9. Yep, because the last one was episode 8. How cunning of you, Kian. Anyways, enjoy if you haven't left already. Yeah, this farm's pretty good, You asked me what I need. It's only been running for a short period of time, and I've got way too many melons I know what to do with. There are even stuff up there on top of the hoppers. Yeah, so I think it's fair to say that this farm was a success, at least so far, in terms of functionality. Maybe not aesthetics, but we'll fix that soon. Anyways, what I thought to do with this overflow of melons is perhaps make another material with it, namely bone meal, which I think is something I desperately do need. It's great for white dye, great for bone blocks, and, great for giving life. Anyways, while that is churning out me some bone meal, I figured we can go ahead and work on some of the exterior aesthetics to this farm, and knowing that it's a melon farm, I think it's pretty obvious what we can turn it into. That's right, we're going to embrace the machine-like qualities of this machine and make it more of a machine. Machine. We're gonna make it pretty, into a pretty machine. I'm a little bit lost, as you can tell, but I think this is gonna be fun. And I'm out of materials. That's pretty egregious considering there's one slab missing, but this is all the quartz I have left. That and these bricks. Maybe I shouldn't have made that many into bricks, but whatever. What's done is done, and this isn't a technical build, Kian, what is it? This is the other half of this project that I wanted to do, and I figured I'd do it first because I had some problems with the machine side of the thing that was supposed to go around the farm. Number one, it was looking a lot like an air conditioner. I actually modeled it in a creative world. Reason number two is that I didn't quite have enough of the required materials to build the machine, so I figured I would build the other part of this structure with the materials that I did end up having lying around. And the final reason is that I found some ancient debris, and I wanted to include it in the build as sort of a technical element. I know, infuriating, right? Don't use it for its proper purpose, use it for decoration, but I think it looks pretty cool. Definitely, technical-ish, I guess, if you stretch it a little bit with your imagination, but I just kind of wanted to use it in the build, and I figured I would show me mining it so you could see that it indeed is my first time, and yeah, on camera, so I figured might as well build the other part of that build first, rather than do this off camera, because it is kind of special. I mean, it's my first ancient debris haul. It is quite a pretty block, actually. I do love the color, and I've heard it's also quite useful for redstone, considering that it is blast proof, but it is also movable by piston, I believe. Don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. I haven't tested it, if you're wondering. I think I had one more vein, I'm not sure where though. But yeah, this is quite the material, and I intend to use just a little bit. Well, I only have 5, so of course I have to use just a little bit in my build. Anyways, now that I've got this ancient debris, I'm gonna go mine some quartz, and then I'm going to build the air conditioner thing, because, well, I've just accepted the fact that it's more or less going to look like an air conditioner no matter what I do, so let's embrace it and build ourselves a fancy air conditioner of life. Well, I've made some changes, and it looks a lot less like an air conditioner now, so I'm pretty happy. You haven't actually seen the original design, and I'm not going to show you, but this is how it turned out, and I'm pretty happy with it. Now, one thing you'll notice is that I did not include the ancient debris like I said I was going to, and that's because I thought you could place it like a log, but you can't. It's only vertical like this, so yeah, that's out of the question, and I still have 5 pieces to do what I want with. I'm not going to smelt them down or anything. I actually really like the texture. I'm just going to try to find more and perhaps build with it in the future. I know that's annoying. I don't care. As for the build itself, though, I'm really kind of fond of this, actually. This is probably my favorite creation in this world so far. Yeah, there's several things to talk about. One of those things are these bone blocks here, which I thought would help soften the transition between the diorite and the quartz bricks, which, by the way, are one of my favorite textures in the game now. I recently discovered them. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is my use of basalt down here. What do you think? Do you think it's too dark? Do you think the transition's too rough? I ended up using it more as a trim than as a gradient. I've actually jumped over to this side of the building so you can see what I mean. Because the contrast between not blackstone, basalt and cobblestone is quite great. I didn't actually think it was that much, but once I started building it together, I realized that making it into a gradient wouldn't quite work, so I decided to make it more of a trim, and I'm curious to know your opinion on that. Should I have made it into a gradient, or is it great as a trim, or would you, replace it with something completely different? I'd like to know your thoughts. Lastly, you've probably seen this before, but I thought I'd bring it up now, is this polished basalt on top of the archway here. Do you think it fits, or do you not like it? I originally was kind of skeptical about whether or not I should include it. I was kind of leaning into not including it because all the new nether blocks, especially basalt, even the polished version, have this sort of dirty, grimy, oily feel to them. Just the way the noise on the texture is, it makes it seem like it's unclean, and I wanted this to be a very clean build, so I wasn't certain whether or not including basalt was appropriate. So let me know your thoughts. I'm still learning a lot with these new nether blocks as seen in that fish thing abomination over there, and now this. So it's nice to hear what other people think. I'm quite enjoying building with them myself. And now I think I have thought of an appropriate name for this machine. I'm going to call it the Giver of Life, because it not only produces the fruit that gives me life, but it produces the material, I don't have any on me, the material, bone meal, that gives life to everything around me. I think that's nice and poetic. Don't you? And now that the Giver of Life is all complete, I think it's safe to remove this farm. Farewell, you have served me well. And now that the deed has been done, there's only one more thing that I'd like to do before we call this an episode. And that is, I want to get rid of this sorry little hovel. I've never really been happy with this house. I built it in my first episode, I added to it my second, and it's just sat here ever since, and I really don't like the way it looks. It's just not sitting well with me, so I want to blow it up, but I don't have any TNT, so I'm just going to break it down. The creeper here even started that job already. So yeah, I think we're going to use this as a final moment to say farewell, old ugly building. You will not be missed. We'll probably build something different here sometime in the future, because I know I can do better than what's behind me. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and more importantly, I hope you're inspired to build wacky contraptions that give or take life or do whatever in your own worlds. Hopefully I'll see you next time in another one of my episodes. Without further ado, let the demolition take you out. Well, that sounds kind of intimidating. You know what I mean.